So now let's move on to our next game. We make the short trip across town to the London Stadium on Saturday evening. Joining us now to discuss a huge London derby are Nicky Hawkins from West Ham Fan TV and the Sun's reporter, Andy Dillon. So welcome both of you to Inside Gooners.
Hello. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
So, Nicky, first of all, we have to ask, where do Arsenal rank on your most hated teams? Because it seems to differ from West Ham fan to West Ham fan.
I'll be honest, I've never really hated Arsenal. I've always had a good relationship with Arsenal. I've always had a good relationship. I think it sort of hit a bit of rock bottom last year when Declan moved across London. So, no, I don't hate Arsenal at all. So, no, not at all for me.
Nicely put, thank you. I mean, we as Arsenal fans, we do love you guys for Declan Rice, so thank you very much.
No worries.
And then, Andy, a big win for the Hammers on Monday night at Newcastle. Was it a season-changing win?
Do you know what? I just want to say one thing first. I liked Arsenal until you said that last comment.
I don't apologise.
Really I don't know about you, Nicky, but that really winds me up when they say that. I don't know.
I've got over it now. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I don't know about season changing because they put in a good performance, and what I did notice was I thought after that second goal winning, it was tangible how they relaxed and started to play properly, and without fear, a bit more confidence, which we've been looking to see for a long, long time. They've been playing within themselves all this season. So, I could sit here now and say, yeah, this is season changing and we're going to go on and there's a good chance we're getting the top 10. But Arsenal, I mean, after last year, I just think, it's such a tricky game to go straight into after that one. It's really, really built it up because it's really delicate now. Because if they come and roll us over like they did last season, then all that confidence will go out of the window within 90 minutes. So, I'd like to think it's going to put us on the upturn, but Saturday is such, it probably couldn't have been a worse team to be playing.
Andy, I've got to ask you about your manager, Lopetegui. A lot's been made about his position there. People not happy with him, but you get that big result against Newcastle. Where do you stand on it? Are you behind Lopetegui, or do you think it's time for West Ham to move on?
No, I don't think it's time to move on yet. I mean, I wasn't one of these. You had to either be an innie or an outie with Moyes last season, apparently, and I wasn't either in or out. I thought, maybe it came to a natural end, but it wasn't a disaster. With Lopetegui, maybe I'm a bit older now, but I wasn't exactly, jumping up and down with excitement at the prospect of it. But equally, I don't think you react this early in the season, and luckily our owners don't as well. They'll wait until it's really, really bad. And I'm sure Nicky will agree with me that we've been in this position as West Ham supporters for a long, long time. And I'm actually quite proud of the fact, in a way, that the club doesn't sack people on a whim like Steve Cooper at the weekend. I think that kind of sets them apart a little bit, that they're prepared to dig in and stick around with him. So I wasn't overly impressed when he came in. I didn't think it was going to change my life. But equally, I'm not now, stomping up and down and demanding that he's sacked. I think he needs a bit of time. Maybe Monday, if not season changing, will be just that little catalyst to get a bit more confidence back into the team and a slow upward trajectory.
Nicky, what do you think then about Lopetegui?
I was on the fence. I'm going to be honest. I was sort of pointing towards. I think these two games was key for me: the Newcastle game and the Arsenal game, because I was thinking to myself, if he gets two, good idings in these two games, because what I haven't seen since I've got, and I'm always one of them ones that's going to give the manager a chance. And I said, look, I didn't know much about Lopetegui. I knew he'd come from sort of good stock. I knew he'd done okay with Wolves. But I said, look, I don't know what he's going to bring to the table. It's a lot of change as well. And I said that at the beginning of the season, it's going to take a little bit of time to bed in. Don't expect miracles from the start. Sometimes it happens. But I was saying, look, but what I hadn't seen in them first sort of 12 games, especially the Forest and the Everton ones, I thought we'd gone backwards a little bit, and I thought that there was some of the players were starting to sort of maybe lose a bit of faith in him. Kudus looks very happy. You see him, he's sort of going around kung fu fighting when he was at Tottenham the other week. It's not it doesn't look like a man that's happy in the way he's playing. He's playing out of position. maybe he thinks that, he should be playing somewhere else. But I said these two games were key. If we get, a real bad defeat, which we have, we have had some bad defeats. Forest is one of them. I think they should have started looking. But, again, I said last night on my channel, there was a wrestler once said, when you think you know all the answers, they change the questions. And that's exactly what's happening. Is we looked more comfortable last night, a little bit of confidence. The midfield changed. I think Soler came in, and I think he sort of solidified the midfield. It was more free flowing. We played two defensive midfielders. Alvarez and Rodriguez played normally alongside Souček, and I thought we looked a lot better. And I thought as the game progressed, I thought we looked a lot more comfortable. So there we go. We're back to square one again. Do we give him a chance? Do we not give him a chance? Yeah. If it carries on like that, listen, I don't think. I think it was said just a minute ago that this is probably the worst game you could go into, because Arsenal with City's demise and Liverpool. Listen, Liverpool are 8 points clear at the moment, but as you said, they're an injury or two from slipping some points. So Arsenal are going to be smelling blood. And I watched them last night against Sporting, and they was in good form, and playing well, free flowing, scoring lots of goals, and you don't want that coming to London Stadium. But I think if we come away with a good performance Saturday, not necessarily a result, because the result is a difficult one. I'm happy to see what the next sort of 4 or 5 games goes, and just to see we've got that little bit of progression and a little bit of consistency.
If I might just add something, the one thing that has worried me so far, and it changed slightly on Monday, was I was worried about Lopetegui's personality. Because you need managers with personality, especially when you're down at the bottom of that division. And having covered a few of his press conferences, I've never seen him kind of come out fighting. There's none of that. And I think to myself, if he can't inspire a group of journalists who get paid to write down his words, I don't know what he would do with his players. That really did concern me, that how would they be reacting in the dressing room. But I think what I saw on Monday, which is something a lot of us, a lot of West Ham supporters would have seen, is the personality of Jarrod Bowen. Not only a fabulous player, but the personality of that guy and the work he puts in, and then what he says afterwards. I mean, it's only a small thing, but making reference to 3,000 West Ham supporters who went up to Newcastle on a Monday night. If that had been the other way round, there'd be all sorts of praise being dished out for Geordies coming down to London. It's a great effort, that, for a team that's really struggling. And Bowen when we lost Declan Rice to Arsenal, you did wonder if you were going to be able to find a captain to fill his boots. And I think Bowen's going a long way to doing that. So if the manager hasn't got that personality, then maybe Bowen can do it.
So then, Andy, West Ham lost this fixture 6-0 last year. I'm sorry to obviously remind you about that, but Arsenal have now since started scoring.
Won't be the first time.
Arsenal have now since started scoring again. So how will West Ham look to stop Arsenal this weekend?
Well, I mean, if I knew that, I'd be straight on the phone to David Sullivan, I tell you. But it's keeping the likes of Havertz quiet, isn't it? And it's Mavropanos. I've not been particularly enamoured with him since he's been at the club. Very up and down. I think our centre backs have struggled. I think since Kurt Zouma wasn't as good as when we first bought him, maybe needed to go, but I don't think we've really replaced him. West Ham bought Aguerd as well, and that doesn't seem to have worked out. So there's a lot of emphasis on those two centre backs to deliver on Sunday. But equally, I go back to Bowen. Bowen defends so well. That player really does, and that's where I think the debate about him in England, why he doesn't get so many call-ups for England, because that man's always back, defending in his box and leading from the back, if you like, and I think he'll be almost as important a defender as the 4 across the back.
So then, before we wrap up, I just want to ask you guys, what are your score predictions for the weekend?
Oh God, I'm going to be hopeful. I'll see a little bit. I'm going to say 2-2. I'm just going to say a little Desmond now. Yeah, 2-2.
I'm going to be hopeful as well. Say 4-1 to Arsenal.
Thank you so much. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
What about you guys? What are your score predictions, and 4-1, 2-2.
I'm going 5-1 Arsenal.
Oh, 5-1.
Yeah, I'm going 5-1. I'm going out there. I feel Arsenal good form at the minute. I think they remember what happened last season. Got Martin Odegaard back, players in good form. Saka wants to make a statement to say to Jared Bowen, listen, you're still behind me in the pecking order. I'm going to go, 5-1.
To be fair, when he mentioned 2-2 just now, I saw Darren kind of like laughed himself.
Well, I've still got memories of that 2-2 from the year before, you know, where Arsenal, that's kind of where the title challenge sort of unravelled, arguably, 2-0 up and chucked it away. So I don't think that's what we're going to see this time. I think Arsenal, in the form they're in, will win there. I will say 3-0.
I like that.
Very nice.
2-0 I'm going for. I think professional, job done performance. But it'll be interesting to see what the team he picks. Obviously, he rotated for Forest. Will he rotate again? I think that'll be an interesting dynamic in terms of what 11 he puts out there for it.
So what kind of team do you expect to see then?
I mean, I think he'll stick with the team from Sporting, but when he went into that Forest game, I was like, this is a huge game. He's going to go full bore, you know, Havertz, Martinelli, Rice, and then he sprung a surprise. So maybe, I feel like it's always been a complaint against Arteta that he doesn't rotate enough. So maybe now everyone is fit, you know, the injury crisis is eased. We are actually going to see this rotation and Jesus gets another game. But if it was me, I would think I'd want that team that just went and dismantled Sporting like that.